What is up, guys? Red Marmot here. Today we are discussing BDO's Sage class Awakening. Sage Awakening focuses on mid to long range sustained damage with some burst, whereas Succession focuses burst damage with mobility. As a result, Sage Awakening offers more in terms of protection, but less in terms of overall mobility. Let's get started with some basic rotations that will allow us to animation cancel Awaken Sage's moves to make him as quick as possible. For Sage, a lot of skills simply change the animation of other skills, allowing a smooth casting transition rather than a true animation cancel. We're going to see some of the mobility issues here with Sage in terms of engaging a fight. However, once engaged, the Awaken spec is actually quite fast. We'll start with Impaling Flash, Shift E, which also has a wind-up animation. Cut that with Ator's Spear, back F, lower evasion, fall by Shift R and B, upsurge, debuff the target's knockdown resistance, and do a hefty amount of damage. Press F during upsurge to activate flow interrogation. Full camera and character controls are possible during these animations. Anytime during flow interrogation, use forward F. This will result in Spear Bolt, Flow Aftershock, which increases all AP and applies stiffness and the summoning of an Arcanon for extra damage. This skill is not protected, but fast, so use with caution. During the flow, immediately control the camera and follow up with FS left mouse button for a quick Ator Spear Radiant Annihilation, followed by the summoning of 2 Arcanons. This process will result in a shocking effect which will lower the movement speed, casting speed, and DP of the targets, as well as the possibility of them being floated. Here we'll see how Shock Relay, right mouse button, one of many skills, can help shorten Lightning Prison. Lightning Prison is a good skill to use, and when shortened, the animation simply puts you in a Praise the Sun position. Ator Spear can be used to instacast Rift Storm, Shift left mouse button, which in turn can be used to instant cast Divine Executioner, Shift Q. In this version of Divine Executioner, we are simply holding left mouse button after the apex of the animation to simply fall back down top of the enemy. An instacast of Divine Executioner is not possible when Rift Storm is used as our 100%. It is possible to instacast Lightning Storm in most situations. Instant cast of Lightning Prison is also possible if used after Lightning Storm. Without the cancel from Rift Storm, Divine Executioner's Shift Q will have this animation that allows us to open up with some new ability. Without any input, the default of the animation will throw the Sage in a descending fashion to a location the camera is facing. With some input before the Sage actually takes off from the ground, pressing left mouse button will cause the Sage to teleport behind the enemy and above them and deal damage. Holding LMB will cause the Sage to descend and drop on the enemies, whereas pressing Q at the apex will cause the Sage to fly away in the direction of the camera. Here we will input those commands, first with left mouse button as the Sage launches into the air so that he hovers over the enemy, does damage, followed by Q at the apex so he teleports back to the ground. Let's add on to the basics. Remember that Impaling Flash can also be canceled. Shock Relay, right mouse button, we can use Impaling Flash instantly. This applies in many situations where Impaling Flash can be used instantly, including with Divine Executioner. Remember that Flow Aftershock can be used inside of Flow Interrogation, and that Flow Interrogation can be triggered anytime after Upsurge. In this example, we are going to end our basic rotation with Shock Relay and immediately enter Lightning Prison. Let's go over some of the cancel basics. R&B Shock Relay can be used to cancel Lightning Prison before Lightning Prison is cast. In addition, you can use R&B Shock Relay as well as Upsurge to cancel the beginning of Rift Storm. Rift Storm in turn can be used to cancel the beginning of Lightning Prison. Lightning Prison's flow in turn can be used in combination with things like Upsurge, and Upsurge itself can also be cancelled Ator's Spear. Also note that Lightning Prison, Divine Execution, Rift Storm, and Shock Relay, name a few, are capable of making Impaling Flash. And with that in mind, let's see all of this in action. Here again, we are opening with Shock Relay to begin the execution. This will make Impaling Flash instant. We will join these two rotations in a later example, but first we are going to cast Shock Relay, which will give us an instant cast of Lightning Prison. Lightning Prison in turn will allow us to insta-cast Rift Storm. Once Rift Storm is being casted, we can go ahead and use Divine Executioner. Here, however, we're going to change it up and add something we learned earlier into the mix. Remember that Impaling Flash can instantly be used after something even like Divine Executioner, and we'll see that now. Here, in between the two rotations that we join together, we use spacebar to utilize Lightning Surge to cover the distance and do some additional damage before doing Shock Relay. Now let's put it all together in the following combat sequences. Awesome. What are your guys' thoughts on Sage class? Awakening versus Succession? It really feels like Sage's Awakening is better for a sustained one-on-one fight, whereas Succession is more for group stealth, flanking, explosion. Overall, Sage's mobility in Succession might put it in the running against Awakening, that the Awakening just lacks, but has flashier skills with more sustained damage and quicker attacks. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that was helpful. See you in the next one.